Hersam Acorn newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Welcome to HAN Radio's Behind the News, the show where three veteran Connecticut news editors go behind the stories with the columnists, photographers, reporters, and editors who covered them. They will discuss not only Hersam Acorn stories, but take a look at the media landscape in Fairfield and Westchester counties. They will discuss it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. With John Kovach and Josh Fisher, here's your host, Kate Czaplinski.
Thanks, Rob. Well, as we mentioned earlier on Coffee Break, John is currently in the heat of competition at a New Jersey Twister event. But so we have to soldier on without him. Josh, a little later in the show, we're going to be talking about a project that your significant other, Liz, has been working on this week. She is trying to save a Civil War-era home in Stamford, and she's been doing a pretty great job so far, kind of gathering support,
Yes,
handing out flyers.
The car is full of flyers.
So we're going to bring
flyers
that
everywhere. Okay, that sounds. And but first, we're going to be joined right now by Ethan Fry, who's a staff writer of the Valley Independent Sentinel, a rather popular website that covers the lower Naugatuck Valley. Ethan, welcome to Behind the News.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. You just broke a pretty big story recently in Ansonia with the mayor. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, basically, we got a anonymous tip, I'll say, a couple weeks ago about a company owned by the mayor, Berm One Construction. The mayor is David Cassetti. He took office in 2013, but he owned a construction company since like the mid '80s, and it owes a little over, there's a few different LLCs and stuff that are involved in the company, but all told, they owe a little over $100,000 to the IRS, and the IRS put some tax liens on the company's properties, the past couple months, and then just through researching that through like public documents and everything, we also found out that the company also faces foreclosure from a company that owns its mortgage now. And the mayor told us as well that the company owes some money to the city of Ansonia itself in local property taxes. So, we just put that out there. I think it was last Wednesday the story ran, and it got a few eyeballs on it. So we're happy about that.
What was it like discussing that with the mayor? Because it's got to be a little embarrassing. I mean, he's kind of been pushing a lot of like redevelopment and new business in Ansonia. So, I mean, what was that like to kind of bring up that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it was awkward, definitely. But I will say that, the mayor, he was, it took a couple days to track him down and, sit down across from his desk to talk about it. But he was, as open as I could expect a person to be about it, I guess, and was willing to answer all my questions. There wasn't anything that, he no commented or anything like that. And as I noted in the story, he's an approachable guy in general. I think that's why, that's part of the reason he got elected. We were he had a press conference, I think it was Tuesday, to announce a state grant to rebuild Wakely Avenue. And, we were just standing on the corner at this press conference, and people were driving by honking their horns, "Mr. Mayor, what's going on?" He's that kind of guy.
Popular,
it'll be interesting to see, that we called the head of the Democratic Party to comment on that story, and his reaction was, he thought it should weigh on voters' minds, but he doesn't think it will. He said the mayor's delivering 2 tax decreases in a row, so he's going to be tough to beat in November, regardless of what straits his companies are in, really. So we'll see.
That's kind of a common Connecticut thing, it seems, almost, right? We have these, chief elected officials. Look at Shelton, right? That the mayor there has been under investigation for, a generation, it seems like sometimes. But in a lot of other, eventually some people, maybe if they're leading Bridgeport get caught or Waterbury, but it takes a while. And in Connecticut, there's I guess it's a reason why one of our nicknames is Corrupticut.
Yeah, and there was a press conference, I think last month or maybe the month before. The U.S. Attorney's Office had a big thing in New Haven to say that they're forming this anti-corruption
Yes,
task
that's
force.
right. That's right.
And I went, and my only question was, how would this help? Would this have helped like that investigation you mentioned or anything like that? And of course, they didn't answer that directly. It'll help all investigations, but we'll see. It seems that maybe they hear that that Corrupticut reputation too, and I think they bristle at it.
There's been a few you cover the Valley, so there's been some of that kind of corruption investigation going on. So is it something now that people in the Valley are very sensitive about it all, or they expect to see stories like that, or?
I don't know. It's like more so, like I've reported all over the country, but more so in the Valley than anywhere else. There seems to, I don't want to call it an acceptance, but like maybe a tolerance of sort of like a, I wouldn't call it like a good old boys network, but it's insular, let's say.
Yes.
Like it's very insular, and there's like there's a handful of families that go back hundreds and hundreds of years. It seems, it seems like there's a few like sort of prominent groups of people who are involved in running things and have been for a while. But that being said, we've seen new leaders elected in Ansonia, Derby. Kurt Miller he's been in office a few terms, 2 terms, I think, in Seymour now. So there is new blood coming in, but, we'll see, I guess.
And what's interesting, I think, is you live in the Valley, correct?
Yeah,
and
I
so
live
does
in,
Eugene.
Shelton, yeah.
So you
Eugene
both,
and Derby.
you both you run the Valley Indy for the most part, right? So, are there characteristics other than that kind of set the Valley aside, like make it different maybe from other parts of Connecticut?
I think it's, I don't know. I grew up in Brookfield, so the Valley's a lot more blue collar than Brookfield. Which I like. Brookfield is a bedroom community for lack of a better word. So there is that dynamic. There's the dynamic of it was a industrial sort of center for hundreds and hundreds of years with all the mills by the 2 rivers. So I think there's more of that sort of history than other places, but and because of that, it's a really, all those mills are obviously, all those jobs are gone now, so that creates a lot of problems, creates a lot of contaminated properties all over the place that are mostly empty now, and I think that news-wise, that's really good. That's really good. That's a really good area to report on.
And I noticed as well, you guys do cover, a lot of the controversies in the Valley, but you also sort of promote a lot of the positive stuff going on. Do you see that as your role as well?
Yeah, I wasn't around when the Valley Indy started. It was 2009. Eugene and Jody Mosger Gill now she's a professor at Southern Connecticut State University. But they got a grant from the Knight Foundation for, I think it was a $500,000 grant, because there had been less sort of coverage in recent, were named sort of after the Evening Sentinel, which closed in the 90s in Ansonia. And I think the Valley Community Foundation, which was instrumental in getting us that grant, saw a need for local news reporting in the Valley, or more of it, let's say. And, Eugene and I are sort of hard news guys as opposed to like soft news guys or feature guys, and we do, that's our sort of bread and butter, I would say. But we also, we try to promote, nonprofit groups or others that send us information or want us to promote their events. Send us a press release, we'll run it, and we'll do the best we can. Within Facebook's draconian throttling.
Damn Zuckerberg.
Once we hit 10,000 likes, it was like falling off a cliff.
You guys have a super active Facebook page.
Yeah.
But it is weird, and Facebook is so weird how it works too. And I've often bored people with the discussion of how Facebook analytics works and how, it's we used to get complaints at one of the papers that I was running. It's like, man, all you guys put on Facebook is police news, and it was, well, no, that's what everyone clicks on and likes. So then Facebook sends that to more people. It's like if you go to our actual page, there's nonprofit news, there's engagements, there's weddings, there's all this sort of stuff, and. But it was took a while and people still don't realize it to let people know, because Facebook it's not like Twitter, it's not like Instagram. It really is picking and choosing what you get to see, and it sort of holds, as you said, it sort of holds the mirror up to the reader, because if you look through our Facebook feed, we post as many of those. I don't know I've never counted, but I'm sure we post a lot more of like those press releases and promotional things than some like scandalous story or whatever. But the people want to read that hard news, and then right.
we get why don't you report more positive news? And we do,
we
but
do, right.
you don't read it.
And I also like to tell people too, it's it's kind of, the more you do that hard news, that police news, that though draws people into your website, and then they see everything else that's there. It's kind of like that big breaking news story that's a terrible tragedy that happens often, though that sometimes shows off, particularly on our side here, where we have daily websites, though, but for generations in a lot of our towns, people have been used to us being weekly newspapers. So they didn't even think always necessarily it was like it used to be. We get the most hits on Thursday when the papers came out. We've seen that even out now, where you get more the other days because people start to realize, oh, there's actual fresh news on this every day. But often it takes a big, terrible tragedy to happen for people to finally visit. Oh, look at this. I could check this stuff out. So, and you guys are a little, now, of course, I believe that all news is nonprofit, but like, you guys as a goal are nonprofit. And why how's that working as a business model?
We'll find out. As I said, they started in 2009 with a grant of, I think it was $500,000 from the Knight Foundation, and we've gotten a lot of support from groups like the Valley Community Foundation and the Catherine Matthews Foundation, groups like that who have given us generous support over the years, and we apply for grants every year, and we'll say, we find out basically whether we'll exist next year. We'll find out at some point this year. We'll exist through 2015. We'll be able to cover the municipal elections at least, but we're hoping for we raise some money during there's a event next month called the Great Give that the Valley Community Foundation participates in, May 5th to May 6th. And as part of that, they've done it a couple times, I think. It's basically like a 36-hour pledge drive, for lack of a better term. But for that, Eugene and I, we're sort of stealing the man on the billboard concept from radio, and we're going to be in our offices webcasting using a heck of a lot less sophisticated equipment than you guys have here. But we'll be webcasting for 36 hours straight.
Wow.
Hopefully drinking a lot of coffee, and we'll invite sort of community leaders of nonprofits in to talk to us during that. I don't know how many will want to talk to us at 2 a.m, but we'll find out. Hopefully we'll get some guests of some sort.
Maybe someone from the
We'll
Chaputsky
send
family.
If Don's done with his Twister game, by the way.
Yeah.
Just heard actually from John Kovacs they've made it to the third round.
Oh, good. Okay.
So,
we're so proud of them.
Yes,
really representing HAN Radio. Well, Ethan, we're just going to keep you for a little bit longer. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk more about the Great Give and just more about the Valley Indies work. So keep listening to Behind the News on HANradio.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Spring is finally in the air and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Does advertising on HANradio.com work? Just ask Coastal Orthopedics. They ran spots with us, and within 24 hours they had 21 walk-ins and 8 calls to their new immediate care center. To advertise on HANradio.com, call 203-417-5199 and ask for Marianne Hersam.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
All right. You're listening to Behind the News. We are still sitting here with Ethan Fry of valleyindy.org, just talking about some of the work they do. They are a nonprofit news site. And Ethan, we were just talking off air about how a lot of the coverage that you guys provide gets picked up by other media. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Is that a good thing for you, or, what?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, when we started, we started because of sort of less coverage in the Valley area historically than there had been in years past. And when we break, a big story, we'll see, the Post or the Register will follow it up and hopefully give us a tip of the cap in their coverage. And that I think that's a good thing overall, because if more people, news is being brought to the attention of more people, that's only a good thing. And we're glad to be delivering it first in a lot of cases. But it's not like we never get scooped ourselves. I shouldn't brag too much, but
right. Well, who doesn't, right?
Well, when I used to be the Shelton Herald editor, I mean, the Valley Indy was like a formidable, competition, because you guys do a really great job. And how much do you kind of look at or rely on, like, what the web hits are like?
No, I mean, it definitely it's definitely like a consideration, I guess. We don't say like, let's put this on the front page because it'll be, a lot of people will click on it. Stories that people like to read, they'll find, regardless of where it is on the site, basically. And I mentioned Facebook before. We used to get like a third of our traffic from Facebook. So, and I don't know what the figure is now, but I'm sure it's formidable. So, basically, when we post something to Facebook, like that matters too. And since it seems like we're being throttled a little more, so we try recently to we found that like 8-9 p.m. is like prime viewing time for Facebook for for our audience, it seems. So we'll post a story then, and it'll seem to get a lot of clicks. But in terms of where we put a story on the site or anything like that, or whether we cover something. If we consider something to be important, we'll cover it, even if we don't think people will care about it. But most of the time people do, it's just, that's what news is, really.
Right. And it's...
Hopefully more people care.
Right, but not everybody's going to care about every single thing. And that's, some people are going to be annoyed almost that you spent time to cover something. While other people are going to wish that you spent time, more time covering something.
I mean, I will say, Eugene, my editor, he's a lot better than me anyway at sort of knowing what, putting himself in the place of a reader. If editing a story I write, he'll have suggestions and edits saying like, think of yourself as a reader reading this, and have a lot of good critiques in that way. But then that's a huge help, and he's better than anyone I've ever worked with at doing that, so that's good.
Definitely.
Now, we mentioned the story that you did last week on Mayor Cassetti, but just, in your time with the Valley Indy, is there like one or two stories that really stand out?
There was, there's so many.
I know. It's a hard question. I wouldn't want anyone to ask me
There was a story, actually, there was a story, this is sort of, I'd never done anything like this before, but we, one morning, I think it was in 2012, mid-2012, we got this just urgent Facebook message from somebody, you've got to, I've got to speak to you, or, something like that. So we replied, and it was this Ansonia guy who I went and met with, I think on the west side of Ansonia somewhere, where the night before, 2 bounty hunters had come to arrest his son, to take his son into custody, who had jumped bail on some charge. And in the process of doing that, the guy had a pit bull that attacked one of the bounty hunters, and the bounty hunter shot the pit bull. Wow. And it was just a huge story. And I talked to the bounty hunters, they're like, hey, we had no choice. The pit bull attacked us, we had to shoot it. And the police were involved, and the guy was going to sue them and everything. But just stories like that really, I probably wouldn't have covered something like that at a newspaper I worked at prior. And I think we were the only ones that had it, so we took our time to sort of research it, and we not just write some one-sided thing. So I stories like that where you could take the time, and because we're online, it's not like, I only have 12 column inches to explain a municipal budget or something. We have an unlimited amount of space. I don't want to write a novel. People will TLDR really, but we could explain things and give everybody the chance to comment and everything like that. So I think that's another advantage we have.
Now, we should mention that, the well-researched articles, all of that, that could end if you guys don't continue to get support. So how can people kind of help you out?
I hope I get this URL right. If you go to www.valleyindy.org, I think it's valleyindy.org/donate, that'll give you some options. But if you just go to valleyindy.org, there's a link, donate, right at the top of the site. And as I said, we're going to be participating in the Great Give through the Valley Community Foundation. You could find out more about that at givegreater.org. And that'll be May 5th to 6th. And as I said, we'll be webcasting from our office. That'll entail all sorts of craziness, I'm sure. And hopefully, and the Great Give they do, I think if people from the Valley give, the Community Foundation might match part of it or something like that. So if you want to wait 2 weeks to write us a check, maybe do so during the Great Give.
That's good. So are you going to have the office open to anyone could just come in during these 36
sure,
hours?
Why not? You guys
Bring some margaritas for Cinco de Mayo and
there you go.
make it harder to stay up for 36 hours.
I'll try to run that.
Run that by Eugene, okay.
I don't know how that'll work.
Well, you guys do a great job. It's been fun to watch you grow since you came on the scene, and it's also been fun. I know even you've competed against Hersam Acorn, certainly in some towns, but I always like having it's good to have good competition. It's terrible to have bad competition.
Yeah, and it's like I worked at a paper in Danbury where there was. There were weeklies, but there was basically no daily competition. And, you get, a story comes along and you're like, oh, nobody else is going to have that, so I'll
there's
do
no
that
pressure,
whenever.
yeah.
Right,
And then, whenever becomes never.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's it's not a zero-sum game, news, really. It's good to have a healthy news ecosystem. It's good for government.
It's good for the public too. Really, because the fourth estate, so to speak, needs its own checks and balances also. Mm-hmm. So, and it's good to have people. The more sources that just the average member of the public can have, the better informed they can be, and the better it is for our society.
Definitely.
And I know so many people in the Valley have become used to just getting their news from the Valley Independent Sentinel, but that's why it's so important to kind of donate and support them, because it could go away and people are going to miss it if it's gone, for sure.
I just saw a tweet. Eugene says, we've outlasted 3 print pubs and AOL patch. So take that, AOL.
Yeah.
The Walmart of news. Well, Ethan Fry, thanks for coming on Behind the News today. It's we were looking forward to having you on, and we'll be keeping an eye on the Valley Indy, and I think it's certainly a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, valleyindy.org.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry I've been sweating so much.
Oh, it happens. It's the bright lights in here.
It's not like it's not.
Everyone gets
hot at all.
Everyone gets nervous when they talk to Kate too.
Oh, yeah,
You know, particularly
yeah.
since she changed her hair color. It's really been messing with a lot of people.
But thanks for having me, guys. I really do
We loved
appreciate
having you. Thank you, Ethan. All right, we're going to go to a break, and we'll be back with more Behind the News after this.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well, with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
It's just about 12:30 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. I'm Kate Chaplinsky with Josh Fisher. Josh, you can watch us and listen to us right now.
Yes, you can. Unfortunately, we do not have live video of John Kovac and Don Eng down in New Jersey right now. They've moved on to round 4 of the New Jersey International Twitter competition. Rain's been holding off for them so far. Really tough matchup, though, in the next round for them. So we'll be trying to keep people updated on that all day. And I know tonight, HAN on Friday night, the Hersam Acorn Network and HAN Radio will be at Harbor Yard in Bridgeport for the Battle of Fairfield Ward against Fairfield Ludlow in baseball, and let's hope Rob Adams will have some updates on the Twister competition tonight. Maybe we'll get some video at some point on that.
Well, Josh, we're kind of going to, there's a little personal connection here, but you and Liz, your girlfriend, Liz Skalka, took a walk last Sunday, and it kind of started this campaign.
It was a little bit before that, too, and we were hoping to have Liz on the air today. She works at a newspaper in New York City and couldn't make it on today. But there's this beautiful old, it's a late 19th century home. It was built anytime, there's different reports on when this home was built. They're calling it Civil War era. It was built sometime in the mid-19th century to possibly as late as 1875. It's next to Planet Pizza at 898 Summer Street in downtown Stamford, which is not far from where we live, and we walk by it all the time, and we always have joked about what a cool, beautiful house this is. We have some images that we're putting up on, if you're watching us live on HANradio.com/live stream right now, you can see them. And anyway, there's plans now to tear this building down. It looks like Planet Pizza owners are the ones who want to tear it down and give them some more parking there. It's on the corner of North and Summer Street in Stamford. So Liz has taken up this call. There's a Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/save898summer. And it's getting some traction. She was out passing out flyers with one of her friends on Wednesday morning to people. A lot of people hadn't known about it. There is a 180-day hold off on the demolition, but there's been some work going on. And the sad part about this, Kate, is that we've seen a lot of these old houses in Stamford have been torn down lately to either be replaced with an apartment building, or in this case it looks like a parking lot probably. So it's really too bad, because Stamford has a lot of great character in it, and we love living there. We've lived there for a few years now, but it's kind of sad to see this history disappear.
Yeah. Has there been any coverage of this in the Stamford media at all?
Yeah, the Stamford Advocate, their front page columnist Angela Corella wrote about it last week, and with Stamford Civil War era house set for wrecking ball, and she was the one who reported it was Planet Pizza owns the building. There's some interesting comments too on the Advocate's website about this, and so they've already there's all these shrubbery around the house that's already been taken down. The door was open too the other day. Some people have gone inside to check it out. And it's gorgeous inside. It is zoned right now for commercial use, but it was a home at one point. And so there's still some hope out there that maybe, someone will buy it. But the sad thing is it's been on the market for over 2 years.
Nobody wanted
It's been vacant since we moved to Stamford. And the thing is right now in Stamford there are so many new buildings. There's a new apartment building that seems like opening up almost every day. There's new office buildings down there. There's still plans for all this new stuff that, why would someone necessarily maybe want to move into or buy an old building that needs some work on it when they could move into something new?
Of course. And I mean, yeah, there's that other side of the argument, the property owner has to make money. They can't just have, an expensive empty house sitting there. But, it's a shame. I mean, something about the idea of it just getting torn down to be a parking lot is just kind of devastating, right? It's like I don't know. It's just really a shame. And it is beautiful.
It is. It's this beautiful building. It's this, Liz says it's one of the last surviving Victorian cottages in the neighborhood in downtown Stamford. There used to be a lot of them, too. In fact, we have this cool old map up in our living room. It's of Stamford. It's before our street that we live on even existed in Stamford. It's a 19th century, early 19th century painting of what Stamford looked like way back when. It's kind of cool. Liz is super into this old architecture and architecture in general, and loves to take pictures of it. Which is part of the reason why we went to Detroit last summer, which everyone thought we were crazy, but we had a great time just, seeing a lot of the old buildings there, taking pictures of what's left, what's not left, what's falling down. And that is her dream, is to own an old house and restore it one day. So, maybe so if anyone wants to buy this house for her.
Somebody buy the house. Now, so did she tell you at all? What was the reaction like handing out flyers? Because that can be, it's almost like doing a man on the street interview. You just don't know what you're going to get.
No, it is. And she said there was, the only people who gave her a hard time about what the point was were some teenagers. It's school vacation week, and she had trouble explaining to them what's important about it. And then when she thought about it later, it was, well, this is history, and it's important to preserve history. But the kids couldn't see what the point of saving this house was. And then one other business owner who owns another eatery kind of across the street behind the Wedge Inn behind the Dairy Queen. This building is right across from Dairy Queen. Everyone knows where Dairy Queen in Stamford is. He was in favor of there being a parking lot because he says everyone who goes to Planet Pizza takes up the parking spots in front of his building.
Okay,
exactly. And Liz has been, very big. She's not calling for a boycott of Planet Pizza or anything like that. She is asking people to call Planet Pizza at 203-357-1101 and express their displeasure. But that's just, she just wants to get the word out about this, and it was kind of one of those things where, do you get involved, do you not get involved? but she didn't want to regret not getting involved in this. So
Good for her.
Yeah, no, it is.
That takes a lot, because usually you see something like that and you think, oh, what a shame. Somebody else might
someone
do
else will
something
do.
about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
You know?
So, and because we actually a couple weeks ago saw it, there was a notice up that it was going to be torn down. And she called the building department and talked to the building inspector in Stamford, who then said that nothing had been filed with his department about it. And she talked to the Stamford Advocate to see if there were any legal notices published and all these things that we actually learned from working in this business.
That we know from doing,
And she discovered that this guy had not actually... it's an LLC that the house is technically owned by right now, had filed the proper paperwork to get this taken care of. So now there is a new demolition notice up on the front. So the fear was kind of, well, if he didn't do it right, that doesn't mean, how often do we see people actually tear stuff down and then get and deal with the repercussions afterwards?
Exactly.
So it was good. So now there's been a formal hearing. There's been a formal objection to this, which we believe has led to a 180-day delay in the demolition. So we'll see what else is happening, but I encourage anyone who's interested in history and interested in, some of these. We live in such a neat area where there's a lot of neat history and neat old houses and architectures. We're lucky, definitely for that. But one day, once it's gone, it's gone. So go to Facebook, Save 898 Summer, Facebook.com/Save 898 Summer is where you can find out some more information on it. Liz is posting some stuff as often as she can get information on it, while still taking care of her day job. So, and maybe we can have her on Coffee Break or something.
I would love to have her on, yeah.
To talk about this. We've been trying to get her to come in and hang out with us one day to see what happens. To show her that show her that I do actually, go to work during the day. And we'll see. She was a former editor of the Eastern Courier. This is how I met her. Actually, the late Sue Wolf kind of set us up, which was always kind of special and neat. And Sue really pushed me to ask out Liz years ago, and I'm thankful to her for that eternally. So it's kind of a neat little Hersam Acorn story, I guess. Maybe. Yes.
Well, I think we're about due for another break.
I think we are due for another break, and then we're going to come back and take a look at what, some of the big stories that happened in Southwestern
It's vacation
Connecticut.
Week, but we still had a lot of interesting news going on.
Yes. So we'll be back on HANradio.com and the Hersam Acorn Network after this.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. 8332 or online at stratfordsmile.com.
This year, 3,000 Connecticut women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Hersam Acorn is a proud sponsor of the Komen Connecticut Race for the Cure. Help make an impact in the local fight against breast cancer by joining us on May 9th in Westport at Sherwood Island. With your help, Komen Connecticut invests in local breast cancer programs, helping local women beat breast cancer. Visit KomenCT.org to register, volunteer, or donate today. We race for Connecticut. Why will you race?
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
It's 12:40 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. I'm Kate Chaplinsky in the Shelton studio with Josh Fisher. We are John Kovachless today, but we're plugging along.
We are plugging along?
Yes.
Yes, we are. And no updates right now from John and Don down. I think it's lunch break at the Twister tournament. Kovach loves Twister. I didn't expect him. He did not stop talking about Twister all day yesterday.
All day yesterday. It was so weird, right?
Yeah, I thought there was a tornado coming or something at first, as much as he was talking about that. So, of course, and maybe, Eric, do we have that Zeus video? No. Okay. Well, that's too bad. But anyway, you can go to the ridgefieldpress.com. It's a little touching video that Jake Kara shot, the managing editor of the Ridgefield Press. Of course, last week, if you tuned in last week, we had... Eric lied. We do have the video of Zeus. Why don't you just play it for those people who are watching on air? But we'll keep talking over it. It's a cute little video of.
Yeah, it's very moving. It's only about 30 seconds, and it just kind of shows the motorcade that took Zeus to the animal hospital to be put down because he had a degenerative hip disorder. And I think what's really moving about it is there's all these barking dogs.
Yeah,
like, you know,
watching.
I know we personify animals a lot, but like it's almost like they're all kind of barking a goodbye. And, you know, people were so sweet. I saw they made signs, like somebody made a sign for their German Shepherd that said, you know, Zeus is my hero, and just really sweet.
Yeah.
You know what? It really brought the community together. It was really nice. And I know it must have been very emotional for them. I mean, gosh, police departments from all over the area came out. This was a huge...
And the canine units of those police departments,
This was a huge event, and people really lined up all along Main Street for Zeus's final ride. I can't imagine how emotional that was for the canine officer. And I know when Captain Jeff Kreitz and Sergeant Jeff Rains talked to us last Friday, they were very emotional about it, you know, and said it's a member of their department, you know, it protected them. They sent him in first to places they couldn't go yet, you know, and so.
You said they talked about how they used to just when Zeus was getting called out to do, they could
Sean Murray,
yeah,
right,
they could hear Zeus barking.
He'd know when he was getting called.
Yeah, so.
I'm ready to go.
So certainly a sad end, but you know, a great tribute that the Ridgefield Police did. Jeff Kreitz wrote a front page article in the Ridgefield Press, a little tribute to Zeus that ran last week. And you can watch, if you missed it, you can watch our interview with the Ridgefield Police about Zeus. It's on the ridgefieldpress.com, along with that video that Jake Kara shot of Zeus's last ride is on the ridgefieldpress.com. So certainly a touching story, and it's a nice reminder because what did Don Ang say about canines?
It's like your best police officer because the criminals are terrified of him and the kids love him and he's the most loyal and the strongest. So, I mean, when you think about it that way, it's really true. And unfortunately, just the shortest lifespan, you know?
Yeah.
Very sad. But so that was our number one story.
Right.
And also, you know, what Jeff Kreitz wrote about that was the 10th story this week.
Which was
all
also
our
a top
websites.
story last week, too.
Yes. So it just goes to show how much interest there was in that. Also, I see there was a story in Milford about 18 affordable housing units that are proposed on Meadowside Road. That got a lot of interest.
And a big reason possibly why, Kate, we were just talking about tearing down old buildings, and it's slated for an 1879 house is slated for to be demolished for an 8-30G application on Meadowside Road. And 8-30G is the state's affordable housing statute, which allows developers to overstep local zoning laws if their project involves, usually it's about a third of the units have to be affordable housing. So
yeah, it's a cool
terrible law,
house.
and it's a terrible law. Also, I personally believe, as someone who's been covering watching people abuse this law and use it to, you know, whether it's for almost extortion, just to scare people and get someone to then buy the property from them, which we've been seeing happen in Darien for years, or just really kind of ruin the character of these towns. And it's a weird law that was really created back in the 80s to benefit developers, not necessarily to benefit people who need affordable housing. Because even if you build a new unit and it's only 1/3 of the units are affordable, and yet 2/3 of the units aren't, you're actually not increasing your percentage of affordable housing in your town. So
yeah, so I mean, I suggest checking out milfordmirror.com just to see the house because it's a very cool looking house. 1879 is slated to be demolished, so we'll see what happens there. What else is on our top story list?
Well, another big story was these 6 Darien High School football players who signed to go play on in college. Darien, of course, won the FCX championship. That was the Turkey Bowl against New Canaan on Thanksgiving Day. And so Griffin Ross is going to Bowdoin, Sam Botwell to Trinity, George Reed to Union, Jack Tyrell to Amherst, Jack Griffiths also to Amherst, and Stephen Walker to Dickinson to play football at the next level. So exciting, and obviously the good people of Darien are rather proud of, as what did Steve Bono call them, the sturdy half dozen.
Yeah, I like that. I like that headline. Another top story is just like a small news item from the Ridgefield Press. There was smoke reported in the high school on Sunday. Turned out it was just electrical and relatively minor, but that got a lot of interest over the weekend. You know, the press is always good about updating on any breaking news that's going on.
Yeah,
Jake Kara does a good job.
Jake sure does. And over just across the line in Ridgefield, where Lewisboro is, where we have our Lewisboro Ledger newspaper, which covers John Jay High School, which includes Katona and Lewisboro. Great story here by Jeff Morris, who's covers education for the Ledger, about these 2 young women who are from John Jay High School who have been battling living with chronic Lyme disease, and they've written a book about it's called Suffering the Silence, Chronic Lyme Disease in an Age of Denial. Jeff's been great, I have to say. Years ago, when I was editor of the Ledger, we brought him in as a columnist. I had these 2 columnists, one of whom still there, J.D. Pira. One was conservative, that's J.D., and the other was liberal, and they'd write about town politics. Lewisboro was a very hotbed of a nice split down the middle Republican Democrat, and Jeff was our quote-unquote liberal columnist. Great writer, though, and then he stopped doing the column for a while, but he's come back on staff and is now writing for the paper. He's doing a great job as a reporter, and that's I have to say, Steve Coulter just took over the Ledger, and he's coming up next on Radio Arts and Leisure with Sally Sanders. And Lewisboro's a very fun town to cover, particularly when you're a young editor and and don't get tired. So he should have some fun down there, and he has a good crew with him too.
Yeah. Well, Josh, before we get to the rest of the top
what's going
news, we are going to take another break.
Oh, we are? Okay.
We are. We will be back after this.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate roadshows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to Behind the News on HANradio.com. We got about 10 minutes or maybe a little less left of this show today, and of Kate, me, and Rob for Rob's been on since 10. We gave him a little break
Thank you
before
both.
when Ethan came out, and Kate and I have been on since 11 as John Kovac and Don Ang are at that Twister competition down in New Jersey.
We're just not going to let that go, are
No,
we?
Absolutely
Why
not.
could we? We did. I don't know if you missed it too, but we did tell our listeners that tonight, when you're at Harbor Yard for the Battle of Fairfield,
yes,
you'll have some updates.
We will have updates for you tonight. We might even have some live audio.
Oh,
we will work on that. Yep. Don left leg blue.
And well, that's an exciting game that Rob. We're covering on the Hersam Acorn Network, which you can find more information about. It is it's a pay-per-view or
right.
It's a subscription. You get an access either for it's like $9.95 for a day, $14.95 for a month, or then you could do 6 months or a year, and you get access to all the Hersam Acorn Network games that we do. And then you also get access to other games across the country.
That's right.
As well,
you get a lot of high school stuff on there. It's really cool.
So particularly if you're an athlete in high school or a parent, you're really into that sort of stuff, it's great. You just go to you could find it on. It's actually, the link is right at Hersam Acorn or hanradio.com/live stream. It's on the bottom, gives you the link to the sport. You sign up, and you would be able to see tonight's game. But then also we got a big game on Sunday.
Absolutely. And what you get from NFHS is you get to see some really, you see all kinds of quality of broadcasting. I mean, I'm very partial to what we do here. I think we do a great job, but you get to see some really great student broadcasters that the production values are phenomenal. And then you see some other things that have guys like me shaking my head or banging my head on a desk. But Sunday is just really exciting to go to Cooperstown. This was the brainchild, actually, of Paul Silverfarb, who let me know about it. And I said, you don't have to twist my arm to get me to go to Central New York. So we'll be there Sunday at 5. I really hope we can get even an earlier start, because I know how you are about baseball. I know how John Kovach is, myself, Paul, and that's just the four of us. I know most of our crew going, we're all baseball nuts in one form or another. So to be able to kind of talk about the game that we love so much in what really is the cradle, although, as I've told a couple of times, that is now really a farce. It's not truly this great, there was a committee formed in the early 1900s that said, baseball was created by Abner Doubleday in Cooperstown, New York. No.
Which Spalding basically pushed to help sell things. They needed a better story. They wanted a better story to help sell sporting goods.
And General Doubleday, you can go to his grave in Arlington National Cemetery. It's adorned with baseballs, but it's all just a myth.
And it's possible he never even saw a game of baseball.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's interesting.
It is.
It's possible. The game actually, as Craig Muter told us on Nutmeg Sports earlier in the week, in reality, baseball dates back arguably to the late 1700s, and it's really the foundation of it, as many know, is from cricket and to a certain extent from a game called rounders, and it came over to this country and became something known as town ball initially, and built from there into what we know now. And initially it was two words, baseball.
Yep, and Alexander Cartwright is the one who wrote down those original rules that we still use. And the first game was likely played between the New York Knickerbockers and the New York Nine on the shores of Hoboken, New Jersey.
Correct.
And I believe that the New York Nine won 21-0.
I think so.
And that was how baseball started. You had to score 21 aces, they were called, runs before the game was over.
Yeah, there's enough to suggest that there was baseball in Brooklyn and Manhattan before that first game that we kind of all universally accept. And then it builds itself through the Civil War, and then 1869 comes along, and that's kind of the accepted date of Major League Baseball and the Cincinnati Red Stockings of 1869.
140-0 or 160-0 they started?
Yeah.
I believe they lost their first game in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think so.
Apparently, in the story, too, is they were up 2-0, and someone from the stands ran out and tackled the outfielder as the ball was coming towards him, and it rolled into and Brooklyn tied it up, and then it would win the game, and there was, of course, no penalty for that.
And for the listener, viewer watching, yes, those are the Cincinnati Reds all these years later. There's no truth to the rumor that Johnny Bench was on that team, but, and that leads me to one of my favorite Hall of Fame stories. When I'm last there in 2012, going into the Hall of Fame was Barry Larkin, the Cincinnati Red, and my son, who's not a big baseball fan, was with me, and I kept hearing that Barry is in town. I'm reading on Twitter, Barry is seeing the Hall of Fame for the first time, and I'm going, wait a minute, what is this? I go back into the Hall of Fame, and sure enough, in the gallery where all the plaques are, is Barry Larkin being interviewed.
Oh, cool.
It was so cool. He didn't sign autographs, but he came over and shook hands with every single person and made sure to stop and give Sean a little grief because he was wearing a Yankee jacket.
I like this. This is like behind the game. Yeah. No, it's interesting.
And Barry Larkin was, one of my favorite players of all time, because I still remember him. I was lived in Cincinnati then when he got called up from I believe it was Indianapolis was the Reds AAA location then, or Nashville, one or the other. And it might have been, yeah.
I'm not sure though.
But I remember coming home from California, a trip out west, and talking to my dad on the payphone at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, telling me about this guy the Reds just called up and how he's just tearing things up for the Reds and how excited it was. So I couldn't wait to get back and see it, and then got to watch his career for years, number 11, out there playing. And the last time I was at Cooperstown was in 2000. I believe that was when Tony Perez, Sparky Anderson, Bid McPhee, and Carlton Fisk also, and Marty Brenneman, the Reds announcer, was put in the.
Well, that's a good Reds day.
Yeah, right. They were all inducted into their appropriate wings there, and I met Pete Rose.
There you go.
That day, signing baseballs. But he and my dad used to work together when Rose was on strike, when the baseball was on strike back in '81.
Yeah.
So I got to get a picture taken with him that my dad took, and it was fuzzy and out of focus.
Well, if you want an absolute, school of baseball history, you'll probably get it this weekend, certainly on Sunday with all of us up there. It'll be a lot of fun. We will be there. First pitch at 5 o'clock. Brian McMahon in Norwalk with their, in-town battle going, 200 miles away, but that's okay. But it's the FCAC Cooperstown Classic, and we're excited to bring it to you. It's going to be really exciting. I'll be up there first thing tomorrow, kind of scouting the field and getting us going. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, we can't wait. And but first tonight we have the Battle of Fairfield.
Not to be forgotten, Battle of Fairfield tonight, 6 o'clock first pitch. We've actually added Sean Saylor to the crew tonight. He's going to run a camera for us. So he deserves it. God, he's been
Sean
so
Saylor
great.
Can do whatever
to us.
he wants.
Yeah. So
we love him.
He'll be with us tonight as well, and it's going to be a good time.
Oh, cool. Well. Rob, if I don't see you before then, I will see you in Cooperstown.
Sounds good.
Probably at some memorabilia shop on Saturday afternoon.
Thank you both for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
Well, Kate.
Yeah. Coming up next, we have Radio Arts and Leisure. So, no video stream on that.
No video.
But you can listen.
We're throwing it down the Parkway and Route 7 to Ridgefield for that.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's edition of Behind the News. For Josh Fisher, I'm Kate Chaplensky, wishing you all a great weekend.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.